Earlier, I spoke with Georgia Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock on the life and legacy of Jesse Jackson. Here's our conversation. Senator, for those in my audience who remember Reverend Jackson's voice in American politics and those too young to have any memory of it all, finish this sentence for me. Reverend Jackson mattered because.
Reverend Jackson mattered because he changed American politics and placed politics in a moral frame. I sit here as the first United States Senator from the state of Georgia, and while I worked hard in those campaigns, I'm very clear that he was literally the bridge between the civil rights movement and the kind of multiracial coalition that makes someone like me possible in the United States Senate. Alongside my Jewish counterpart, John Ossoff, Jesse Jackson, with his Rainbow Push Coalition, laid the groundwork for the work that we're trying to do to this day. There would be no Barack Obama, no President Barack Obama, had he not put that idea in the ether and demonstrated that someone like him could build the kind of coalition necessary to move the country forward.
And Senator Warnock, you talking about yourself and John Ossoff also exemplifies something that is complex about Jesse Jackson's own legacy. In the '84 speech at the Democratic National Convention, he apologized for things he said that had hurt Jewish Americans, and he pleaded with the convention floor in America writ large to forgive him and to think about a coalition that would reunite Jews in America and African Americans. You and John Ossoff, the United States Senate, are living exemplars of that.
Yeah, a politician saying I made a mistake and apologizing. Isn't that a breath of fresh air in today's politics? But that's what maturity looks like. He was a moral giant, and he understood that he had made a mistake. He apologized for it, and he moved forward, and he built the kind of multiracial coalition that we need in this moment, in which we are seeing our federal government literally come in and seize ballots in Fulton County, Georgia. We're seeing untrained paramilitary officers on our streets running roughshod over the bedrock constitutional rights of citizens, terrorizing entire communities. His is the kind of moral voice that we need now more than ever.
How did you feel that dynamically in your interactions with him, Senator?
I have to tell you that Reverend Jesse Jackson was my childhood hero. I was a kid growing up in public housing in the 1980s. And I remember walking to the Savannah Civic Center to hear Reverend Jesse Jackson speak as he was beginning his unlikely campaign to run for the United States presidency. And he gave me a glimpse of what's possible in America. He taught me how to say in his own iconic way, I am somebody. And he said it with such power that I believed it. And he's an important part of my own journey as someone who's tried to bring his faith to the public square and bring people together.
I rewatched both his '84 and '88 convention speeches this morning before we sat down, Senator. And there was one line at the beginning of the '84 speech that was not a grabber, but it rings in my ears, and I'd like to see if it rings in yours. Time is neutral and does not change things. With courage and initiative, leaders can change things.
Well, that's right. And he was echoing in those words from his own mentor, Martin Luther King Jr., who said, you know, that change doesn't happen. And it doesn't roll in. Dr. King put it this way. He said, it doesn't roll in on the wheels of inevitability. Both these men understood that you have to put your body in the struggle. You have to be persistent. You have to stand up time and time again. And you may have setbacks, but you have to keep pushing and bending the arc towards justice.
He also said near the end of that '84 speech, I too was born in the slum, referring to the life of Jesus as well. And just because you are born in a slum does not mean the slum is born in you.
Jesse Jackson centered human dignity. He believed in the somebodyness of every child of God. And his was a dynamic rainbow coalition the consciousness of which we need to draw upon in this very political moment where there are those who are in power trying to divide us. People who have no vision, traffic, and division, they don't know how to lead us. So they're trying to divide us. Jesse Jackson brought us together. And that's the work that I try to do as someone who was inspired by his ministry and his voice.
He also said this in the 1988 convention speech. Most poor people are not lazy. They are not black. They are not brown. They are mostly white and female and young. But whether white, black, or brown, a hungry baby's belly turned inside out is the same color. Color it pain, color it hurt, color it agony.
He was poetry and spiritual power in the public square. Those aren't the words of a transactional politician, although he was running for office. That's a preacher standing squarely in the public square and calling America to what Lincoln called its higher angels, trying to get us to live up to our ideals.
And how do you regard this day when you see headlines, as anyone can, this past week about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion at the corporate level under constant reevaluation? It's clearly under an executive order assault from this administration. And as you mentioned a moment ago, ICE agents in the streets doing things that probably Jesse Jackson, were he as full-throated as he once was, would be criticizing pretty profoundly.
He certainly would, but it's left to us. I was in Minneapolis a few weeks ago because Reverend Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King Jr., Fannie Lou Hamer, white woman and witness named Viola Luiso, who lost her life fighting for voting rights, Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman, 2 Jews and an African American. It was always a multiracial coalition that pushed the country closer to its ideals. I went to Minneapolis because I believe, as they do, and as they did, that you have to put your body in the struggle, that the ministry of presence matters, that you have to show up for the poor, the weak, the downtrodden, the marginalized. And that's what informs good public policy. You have to get close to the people. And Jesse Jackson and others taught me that. His voice has been silenced, but his legacy lives on.
Senator Raphael Warnock, I appreciate the time, sir. Thank you.
Great to be with you.